Let's go through some of the misconceptions that we hear all the time. Starting with employer matching doesn't matter. How often do you hear this?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? I think a lot of people don't fully utilize or even understand how their employer match plan works. So it's not always as simple as I put in 3, they give me 3 or whatever it is. Oftentimes we see plans where it's a percentage of what you put in up to a maximum of blank. Well, no, that's not as simple as just saying something as straightforward as, hey, here's a straight percentage. It is worth doing that quick calculation to saying, hey, what can I get out of this? And how can I maximize the free money that my employer is giving me for my retirement plan on that? But a lot of people do miss out on that because of a lack of understanding.
Yeah. And I would say that for many of our younger listeners, this is especially important because we hear this all the time and as we're meeting with their parents, right? Our clients are mostly 65, as I keep mentioning, but they might have children that are in their 30s and 40s and 50s. And the concern is, hey, my son I can't get him to start taking his employer plan seriously. And the response that they often get is, well, I can't afford to contribute right now. You know, things are really tight. I need every dollar I have because that's what's helping me pay for all the expenses in this period of inflation, right? And the response to that, the correct response to that is you can't afford not to.
Right.
You have to find a way to make those contributions. And especially like if you want to do the bare minimum, contribute right up until you receive the entire employer match. Take advantage of the employer match. Like, so for instance, let's say you contribute $1,000 to your 401k and your employer matches at 50% up to, I don't know, let's say 6% of your salary. That could be an additional $6,000 a year that you're getting by way of an employer match. It's very real money. Sure, you can't access it until you're 59 and a half, but 59 and a half is going to be here before you know it. So take advantage of that match. It's incredibly important and probably the best thing you can do for yourself in terms of like the low-hanging fruit, the easiest and the best thing to do at a minimum, take advantage of the employer match.
Yeah, and if you don't fully have a grasp on how the employer match works, not to sound too smart here, but ask. you got to ask. You got to advocate for yourself. These plans are out there, and if it's going unused, something being offered out and it's going unused, then really there's only one person to blame, right? Unfortunately. And we don't like being the person to blame for our own mistakes oftentimes, especially not when I'm talking with my wife. I don't like to admit any fault, but simply ask if you don't fully understand how it works. A lot of times we see people, and it's that example where Yelisey just gave, where hey, you get 50% up to 6%. Well, yeah, it could be stated a little bit clearer, but if you don't get it, get a clear understanding on it so you know what you can do. And by the way, once that money is being contributed to your plan, you'll find a way not to miss it. It just because it comes out automatically. You still get your net amount. It's a little bit less because you're contributing, but you don't miss it. Pretty quickly you realize like, oh yeah, this is what my new normal is, right? It takes a lot more discipline when you get the total amount and you have to put it in yourself and you have to do the calculation. When you can do it automatic,
right?
Yeah, it makes life so much easier.
It does. It helps you stick to it for sure.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that come through and they kind of don't realize how much they've saved up in their 401k because they just say, well, put it in and they increased my contribution a couple times and now I've got X amount of dollars and retirement looks great, But,
all right. Well, let's go to misconception number 2. This is a fun one. Annuities are bad.
We should have some like dark, ominous music over that. I wonder if we can edit that in, right? Just like annuities are bad.
I actually feel like I'm doing something wrong just by saying the word.